Have you taken a self-portrait? Have you thought about taking a self-portrait? Are you deterred by the thought? This can be a very hard place to be in, I'll admit right away. And by place I mean in front of the lens rather than behind. This is the spot where confrontation occurs between the picture taker, you, and the sitter, you. It's one thing to conceptualize an image, then direct the capture, and it's another completely to conceptualize the self into an image, direct the self, and most often capture self in just one act. The potential for emotional and logistical hang-ups is profound. For some, it may be an easier feat, and I think of you as natural performers. Then I consider how difficult it may be for some performers not to perform, because that is the true self-portrait, the capture of authentic self, the self that is wide open for judgment. Often your own judgment of yourself, if you're brave enough to really look at the results. And for those brave souls who share their work, like the work you'll see in this collection, in this video, there is the potential for an acutely overwhelming, caught with your pants down feeling. So, for a photographer, the taking of a self-portrait may be a very vulnerable place, although for some, quite empowering, and then others simply a visual extension of self. But then there is that heart-wrenching, probing journeying into the very personal, unknown. So who are you, anyway? I dare you to sit in front of the lens, free of barriers, and take a look. In the meantime, let's take a look at the results of others' visions of self. My name is Raine. Together, let's examine ID, the object of self, an exhibition at the Darkroom Gallery, September 27th through October 22nd, 2012. The reception, as you see here, fell on October 14th. I'll need to clarify something about the jury process of ID. The submitters chose the images. We experimented with this process for the first time for this show because it's the perfect genre for those parameters. Each submitter was allowed to choose not more than one of their own images and up to 5 total. From the winning images, those with the most votes, our final jury was by Cig Harvey, who chose the juror's choice and honorable mention images. Self-portraits, self-juried. Brilliant. Let's take a look. Self-portraiture is a journey into the unknown, no matter how well we may think we know ourselves. The road behind us is a little cloudy, and that ahead is unclear. There can be fear in the trip inside. We must weather the vulnerability. How do you feel when looking into a mirror? How do you feel about the life you've built around yourself, or are moving away from or towards? What is the role that you play? There is the self that once was and the self that will inevitably be undone. And the familial self. The self that is willing to examine its part in what that family was or is or might become. The self that relates to the essence of place, or uses place to inform the essence of self. And then there is the metaphor that we become, and those that we investigate, proliferate, others that we pronounce as ours to bear, and those we carry, either inflicted upon us or chosen by free will. How do you hide self, shelter self, stifle self? What trappings have you allowed or been smothered by? Just where and what are you? Who are you? In fantasy, in iconography, what are you made of? We construct ourselves out of a collage of internal and external factors, creating a commentary like a conversation among ourselves. Those we embody as parts and pieces of the whole mask we bear. Or abandon in order to consider the most minute and intimate details of our own living, breathing skin, the face of a life filled with texture and individual veneer. The face that hides and shows the chaos behind it, the chaos that confines us, and that which we free by just letting go.
I was just sitting in my room in the dark. I had a lamp on, and I started experimenting with my camera, and I definitely feel I put myself in a very vulnerable position, but it's been a very powerful experience to show this moment to strangers that I would never otherwise see a moment like this. And also, it's kind of my attempt to share with people that everyone has these moments and that it's human and you're not alone. And most people don't capture them, but I thought that it would be powerful to do so.
What defines us? What are we defined by? How do we represent ourselves? What labels do we apply? What labels do we defy? We know ourselves best, the faces we can become.
Do you see benefit in it?
Self-portraiture? Oh, absolutely. I think every artist, well, I don't know about every artist, but a lot of artists throughout history have, done portraits of themselves. I think artists are kind of fascinated by themselves. And the subject is readily available. And I like to record, let's say, the different changes that I'm going through. But like I said, I don't do it on a regular basis, but if the opportunity presents itself, why not? You know?
The faces we hide and those we victimize. And we use our bodies as vehicles for suggestion, sacrifice, redemption, penitence, investigation, experimentation, in order to create an incident. And to mark time, space, association, preoccupation, our own self. We mark our spaces with honesty. And they mark us just the same. These spaces live through us and become our histories. We mark them with our presence, ask them for insight and understanding.
And how about the idea from the start? What was your intent?
So this came at an interesting phase in my life when I'd moved to Vermont. I'd been here for about a year or so and was not finding work as a photographer. And so I was definitely kind of floundering in life at that point. And I wanted to make a piece that conveyed the vastness of the world and how intimidating it was, and almost like this. I look at this now and I feel like it's about being lost and being found at the same time. Like, you know, you're out there in this huge open universe, and at the same time, you've got the constellations to guide you, and in the end, everything's okay. And this is sort of like conveys two feelings, like a scary feeling and a comforting feeling at the same time. And I think that's kind of what I was going for in making it. And then shortly after I made this, I kind of like found my way and started working professionally and doing my own thing as photography, and now I get to do it all the time.
This is the spot where
Direction, guidance,
This is the spot where confrontation occurs.
perspective. It is that moment of enlightenment and peace that we can only hope our camera sees when we expose ourselves to the shutter release. Thank you to the talented, inspiring Cig Harvey for finding the time in a very busy schedule to look at our submitters' choices and dare to make her own. That is a daunting task. It's a bit of a daunting task to view the self-portrait in general, isn't it? You're not just evaluating, dissecting, responding to the photographer's vision and execution of vision. You're dissecting the photographers themselves. So thank you to all those brave souls out there for taking the time to examine self and then sharing yourself with others and all of us. This is Raine signing off from the Darkroom Gallery's exhibition ID, The Object of Self. Until next time, I dare you to try this out.